Om, 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahe, Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Ma Vidvijavahe. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Om Sadashiva Samadambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om. So until yesterday, we saw about what are the consequences of pramada. Pramada means not paying attention to the sadhanas and practices that enable us to abide in that truth, in that reality, the Brahman. Pramado by Mrityuhu. From verses 330 to 338, now Bhagavan Sri Adisankaracharya speaks about even if you are established in that truth, even if there is a slight taste of disturbance, a slight experience of disturbance, meaning other than I, there is I and something other than I. When we experience that, then there is always a scope for fear, always a scope for worry, scope for anxiety and trouble. Because whatever we see, the drishya, the world of objects, the five senses, our thoughts and feelings, everything is only a delusion that we experience. It is not the reality. As long as we are going to hold on to any one of it, then that ladder of fall is always imminent and we will go through a lot of suffering and fear in life. So how to be free of that fear and suffering is to be completely established in that truth, in that Brahman reality. Verse 330, Jivato yasya kaivalyam videhe sacha kevalaham yatkinchit pashyato bhedam bhayam brute yajushruti. The Yajur Veda, it declares that one who sees even a little bit of distinction, for him there is fear. He who is completely aloof from the contact with the objects of the world, the object of sight, smell, taste, touch, and skin, and not only contact but believing that they are reality and engaging in that reality, for that person, even while living, he is the one who is completely aloof. He alone will be an individual self, will experience himself as an individual self when the body drops. When the body is present, as long as I am going to think of I am there and some others are there or many others are there, this thought and I and mine and others and they and that and it, when these thoughts are there in our mind, there is no complete liberation. A person becomes a videha. Videha means free of this body. He doesn't need the body anymore for his existence. He doesn't need the body anymore. Shat Kaushika Deha Shunyaha. That person, he doesn't have this five bodies and plus the subtle body. It is completely detached. So we have seen that we have the Annamaya Kosha, or the physical body, then the pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, and anandamaya kosha. The other four koshas get detached from the annamaya kosha at that point of death. So, if a person has become completely absorbed in that reality, in the truth, then only then he becomes free at the time of death. Otherwise, he will not be free. There is death of this body, and just like how we sleep at night and wake up in the morning in the same physical frame and in the same room where we slept previous night, this person will go to sleep at the time of death and wake up in the mother's womb of the next body. So there will be no knowledge of the past lives or what is the sadhanas they have done. All that will not be there at the time of birth. So if we want to be completely free, there should be not even an iota of thinking that there is something else other than I, something else other than the self. Yada kada vapi vipaschidesha brahmanyanante pyanumatra bhedam pasyatyathamushya bhayam tadaiva yadvikshitam bhinnataya pramadat yada kada vapi, anytime, whenever vipaschidesha, this person who is a vipaschit, who is a knowledgeable person, he is a learned person, he has heard about the Brahman, he has contemplated on the Brahman also. Brahmani anante api anumatra bhedam. This Brahman, this I, or this consciousness, that eternal truth which is I, which is me, is endless. It is ananta. But he sees even a little bit of disturbance, bhedam, when he sees a little bit of differentiation in that Brahman, meaning I am there and other things are there. When I say normally I am there and all these objects are there. So that is called difference. As long as I am seeing these differences, pashyati yatha amushya bhayam tadaiva. He also sees that there is fear in the future. That person is not free of fear. The purpose of studying Vedanta, the purpose of studying Upanishads is to be so well established in the truth that I have fear for nothing in this world. There is nothing that can give me fear. And if there is fear, then it's followed by sorrow. It is followed by grief. All these feelings come with fear. So if I want to be fearless, which is a base for living a very happy life, then I should not see any distinction in that Brahman. Everything is I and I and I alone. Pashyati yatha amushya bhayam tadaiva yad vikshitam bhinnataya pramadat. Why do we see the differences? We see the differences out of lack of alertness. What does that mean? Everything that we see, the objects also, are made up of the 5 elements, including this body and the objects around us in the world: earth, water, fire, air, and space. And everything subtle is made up of tanmatras, that the subtle quality of the earth, water, fire, air, and space. It is prevalent everywhere. And within us, in the subtle body, we have the sense organs, the power of seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and touching. And that is common to everyone, everywhere. And that is the equipment with which all of us see, hear, taste, smell, and touch. There is no iota of a difference between me and the other person. Whatever their qualities may be, whatever their work, and whatever their looks may be, whatever their gender may be, and animals also, animals, plants, and all the beings on this earth, there is no difference. They're all made up of the same material. But when I see that difference, then I have this fear. Difference means when, suppose there are two friends, and among the friends, they share many things. They say, what is the difference between you and me? There is no difference, means it's a matter of love. It is this thought is not about a clinical understanding of jnana yoga as everything is equal, but it is a matter of expression of love. When somebody who's known to us hits us by mistake or stamps our leg, we don't really get angry with that person because we like that person, we love that person. But somebody with whom we find a difference, we don't like that person because that person doesn't have qualities that we have or that we like. And so we hate that person. And that person just comes even close to us as if hitting, we get very angry. So that is the understanding that Vedanta is trying to get to us. Look with eyes of love, look with eyes of compassion. Wherever we see, whatever we see around us, when we look with eyes of love, everything becomes one and there is no difference. Pashyati yatha amushya bhayam tadaiva. When we look with love, there is no fear. When there is a difference, when I think that I am something and everybody else is something else, then there is always the problem of fear from the objects that I hate, that I'm afraid of. Yad vikshitam bhinnataya pramadat. And why do we experience these differences? We experience these differences out of pramada, or a lack of attention. Pramada is lack of alertness. When I'm not alert, anger expresses within me, hatred expresses within me. But when I'm alert, I receive whatever I receive from the world, and once I receive, I process that information and I express with love, express with harmony, express with quietude, express with compassion. When that happens, the process of love is set in, and duality, the experience of duality becomes very less. श्रुतिस्मृतिन्यायशतैर्निषिद्धे दृश्येऽत्र यस्वात्ममतिं करोति उपैति दुःखोपरि दुःखजातं निषिद्धकर्ता स मलि मलि मलिं लुचो यथा. Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya Shataihi, Nishidhe. The Shrutis have condemned this division, or the division between I and mine, you and yours, it and theirs, and me and everything else in this world, all these divisions. The Shrutis means the Vedas have eliminated them. They've said there are no distinctions. Vedas means the Upanishads. The Smritis, all the Puranas and the Itihasas, they talk about the unity of everything, the global unity, the oneness, the feeling of oneness, the need for dharma, the need for doing the right action for the welfare of everybody. And when we can be at peace only when we work for the welfare of others. Paropakaram punyaya papaya parapidanam. All the Puranas and Itihasas, the essence of them is when I do good for others, I gain punya, I gain peace of mind, I gain quietude of mind. When I harm others, then the quality of my mind is disturbed. It has been all the Shrutis, the Smritis, and the Nyaya Shastras, the text of logic, all of them, Drishye Atra Yaha Swatmamatim Karoti. So, Drishye Atra, whatever we see, hear, taste, smell, and touch, they have been denied, means it is not there. It is only a delusion. It is only an illusion that we see in front of us. The Shrutis and all the Nyaya Shastras, the Upanishads, and the Puranas and Itihasas, they talk about it again and again. Even our movies talk about it. Indian movies, there are many, many songs in Indian movies which talk about what is the whole delusion of our perception of this universe, this Drishyatra. But despite all this, Atra Yaha Swatma Matim Karoti. Swatma, they think that this is I, meaning I am seeing this, I am hearing this, I am tasting this. What is happening is not good for me. All these things we are thinking about. Upayiti dukkha upari dukkha jatam. Such people, they attain to sorrow after sorrow in their life. It is more like a warning statement. What will happen when I think that everything that I see is I or belongs to me or mine? I will suffer sorrow after sorrow. Nishiddha kartasa malim lucho yatha. So this person, why does he experience sorrow? Why do we experience sorrow? When we do something wrong, then the mind is assailed by doubts and anxieties and worries, and so we are restless. In the same way, what the Vedas have said, it is not existing. We are insisting that yes, it is existing. This world is existing. I am interacting with this world. I am different and the world is different. Then we will be, we are doing something wrong in that case, and because of those actions, we will not have any peace of mind. These are all the verses that are spoken for the highest of sadhakas who have given up all activities in the world and are wanting to choose a path of meditation and work their way towards liberation. सत्याभिसन्धानरतो विमुक्तो महत्त्वमात्मीयम् उपैति नित्यम् मिथ्याभिसन्धानरतस्तु नश्येत् दृष्टं तदेतद् यदचौरचौरयोः. The one person who devotes himself, Satya Abhisandha Anarataha Vimuktaha, the person who is free and who is Satya Abhisandha, he is devoted to the truth, devoted to the reality. Anarataha, he is not attached to anything else in this world. Mahatvam Atmiyam Upaiti Nityam. Such a person attains that self and remains as the self at all times, eternally. He is eternally free. Mithyabhisandhan anaratastu nashyet. But the person who is attached to delusion, attached to this drishyam or what he sees as the object. How this drishyam is not there, we say? Something that is not there in all three periods of time is not there at all times. So something that is there in all three periods of time is only that which is there. Everything else is not there. Meaning consciousness alone is there in all three periods of time. And so consciousness alone is real. Everything other than consciousness, everything other than awareness is unreal. Mithya abhisandhana ratastu nashyet drishtam tadetat yada chora chorayoho. For this person, the difference between the one who is established in the self and the one who is established in this world as I, thinking that everything is real, the difference is one who is not a thief and one who is a thief. If the person is a thief, an honest man is not a thief, a dishonest man is a thief. So the honest man, he is very honest, he does honest things, and so he is always happy. The dishonest man, when he does dishonest things, he is unhappy. This is taking honesty and dishonesty to the extreme level for our own benefit of understanding. When something extreme is pointed out, it is one way of marketing in advertising is showing the worst case scenario and to avoid that worst case scenario, buy this product. Here, the worst case scenario is thief. And because of being a thief, my mind, the stability and the quietude of my mind is lost. A person who is established in the self is not a thief, he is an honest person. The person who is not established in the self, rather, he is established in the world of thoughts, words, actions, people, objects, and situations, is doing something like thieving, because he is taking the consciousness that rightfully belongs to him and is him and puts it on something else. Voluntarily, he's becoming a thief of his own true nature, of his own peace of mind. And so that is the difference between the two. So if we want to have experience calmness of mind, quietude of mind, so a life of absorption in that self is the way forward. Yatira sadanusandhim bandhetum vihaya swayamayam ahamasmityatma drishchaiva tishthet sukhayati nanu nishtha brahmani svanubhutya harati parama vidya karya dukkham pratitam. Harati parama vidya karya dukkham pratitam. The yatihi, the individual who is striving, asad anusandhim bandhetum vihaya, he gives up following this non-truth, non-reality, asat. What is not there, he just gives it up. He doesn't pursue those things in his life because they are bandha hetu. They are the cause for bondage. Vihaya swayam ayam aham asmi. This I, this consciousness alone, I am. Iti atmadrishchaiva tishthet. He is always established in that state of consciousness of I, the Brahman. Sukhayati nanu nishtha. Brahmani svanubhutya. He is very happy at all times. Nanu means indeed. Nishtha. He is established in that happiness because of the establishment of that mind in that Brahman as his own self, Swa Anubhuti. Who is the Brahman? I am the Brahman. That person can very clearly say, because it is like when somebody asks our name, we don't think so many times to tell our name because we are established in that. We know that for sure that this is our name. So if it is Gayatri, immediately it comes out as Gayatri. If it is Sharanya, immediately I say Sharanya. If it is any other name, immediately I say that name because I am very clear about my name. In the same way, I am very clear about my identity. Who am I? If we are a doctor, we say I am a doctor, or a lawyer, I am a lawyer. An engineer, I am an engineer. Teacher, I am a teacher. A sweeper, I am a sweeper. But if I am very clear about my identity as Brahman, then I say I am Brahman. Harati, what will happen when I experience and I realize and I am aware at all times that I am Brahman? Harati, parama vidya karya dukkham pratitam. The result of this identification with the true self, what happens? Parama dukkham, all the sorrows that we experience in our life will go when I am established in that true identity. Bhakyanusandhih parivardhayet phalam durvasanameva tatas tatodhikam jnatva vivekaihi parihritya bhahyam Swatmanusandhim vidadhita nityam. What will I get when I'm going on spending my time contemplating on objects of the world outside? I will get the results of those objects. When I contemplate on the people, objects, and situations, I am focusing my attention on all those things. That attention will go into the world, do its work, and bring me back the results of the attention. When a student is paying attention to studies, and they write their examinations, they're focusing their attention in writing, then what happens? The answer papers go and then they come back as results in the examination. In the same way, wherever we pay attention to, we will get results. Parivardhayet phalam durvasanam eva tataha adhikam. So what will happen? Anything that I focus on the world and wanting something, I will get only durvasana. It is not going to be all happiness, because this world is dukkha alayam ashashvatam, says the Bhagavad Gita. This world is a temple for sorrow. The deity of this world is called sorrow, dukkha. Dukkha is that Devi, and she is the deity that's worshipped in this temple. So what will that deity give? That deity will bless me only with what she has. And so she will give me sorrow, which is durvasana, sorrows caused by evil propensities. Jnatva vivekaihi parihritya bhahyam. So with this distinguishing between who am I and what is not I, what is eternal and what is temporary, when I give up the outer expressions in the world outside, considering that world to be a reality, when I give it up, swa atma anusandhim vidadhita nityam. Swa atma anusandhim. That person is always able to contemplate on the truth, on the reality at all times. Bahye niruddhe manasah prasannata manah prasade paramatma darshanam tasmin sudrishte bhavabaldhanasho bahir nirodha padavi vimukte. Bahye niruddhe. When the outer world of sense perceptions have been stopped in the seat of meditation, I shut off my senses from contacting the outer world. Manasaha, what happens then? Manasaha prasannata. The mind becomes prasanna. Prakarshena sannaha. The consciousness fills up the mind. It is not let out through the senses into the world. The senses are shut. The consciousness stays within. The mind experiences a full load of that consciousness, and it becomes very cheerful and happy. And when the mind is cheerful and happy and calm, manaha prasade, what happens? There is nothing else. Everything that the mind is doing is for its own happiness. When that happiness has been achieved at zero cost, there is no cost. Simply sitting quietly, the mind is filled with that consciousness, and then we experience happiness. What happens in that experience of happiness? I experience that source from which this happiness is arising in the mind, which is consciousness. When I see that consciousness, when I am aware of that consciousness, tasmin sudrishte, when I am completely aware of this consciousness, what happens? Bhava bandhanashaha. All the bonds that bind me to this existence in this world, in terms of the sorrows, griefs, anxieties, worries, depression, or wanting to do something, wanting to achieve something which is beyond my capability, or endless desires, all these things are all bhava bandha. These are all the things that bind me to this existence. I will be bound by action in future. So I will be free of all that when I look into that consciousness, the truth. Bahir nirodha padavi vimuktehe. So shutting off the senses from roaming outside in this world of objects, people, emotions, thoughts, situations, and everything else about the world, and I send the mind within in contemplation, then I experience the life of liberation. Kaf pandita san sadasad viveki shruti pramanaha paramarthadarshi janan hi kuryat asato valambam swapata hetoho shishuvan mumukshuho. Will any person, panditaha, a learned person, the one who has heard about this truth, contemplated on the truth, and seeking to realize this truth completely in one's life, and who is a Sat and Asat Viveki. He has also got that Viveka Buddhi. Viveka means the distinguishing between what is truth and what is untruth, what is reality and what is ephemeral and temporary. When he has learned to distinguish between the two, through how Shruti Pramanaha, through the means of the Upanishads, and he has also become a Parama Artha Darshi. He has also seen for himself that yes, that consciousness alone is the truth, that consciousness alone is the reality. Janan hi kuryat asato avalambanam. Even after knowing all this, will somebody go and um, catch hold of what is not there? When if I catch hold of what is not there, I will be in a permanent state of delusion. What is not there means consciousness is not there outside, it is present inside me. So I am going out into the world of objects, people, situations, and emotions and thoughts and trying to attain something. Will a person who has learnt all this, known all this, experienced this truth, will that person ever do such a thing? Swapata hetoho shishuvan, like a small child. Will a person do all these things like a baby or like a small child and do something which causes his own downfall? Will that mumukshu, the seeker after liberation, will that person do something that causes his own downfall? देहादि संसक्ति मतो न मुक्तिः मुक्तस्य देहात् यभिमत्य भावः सुप्तस्य नो जागरणं न जाग्रतः स्वप्नस्तयोर्भिन्न गुणाश्रयत्वात्. There is a beautiful example that's given. Suptasya no jagaranam. For the person who is sleeping, there is no question of experiencing the waking state. If I'm deep asleep, sometimes children, when they go to sleep and mother or father calls the child will say, I'm sorry, I can't come, I'm sleeping. I'm in deep sleep. So the parents will laugh because they know that you cannot be in deep sleep and talk and say that you're in deep sleep. So if we say something that we are in deep sleep, it means we are not in deep sleep. In the state of deep sleep, there is no question of experiencing the waking state. Same way, in the waking state, there is no question of experiencing the dream state, and it is not about daydreaming, but the kind of dreams that we get when we sleep, go to sleep at night, the REM sleep. So that time we get dreams. The waking person will not experience those dreams. He may remember the dream that he had, but he will not be seeing the dream live right now when he's waking. In the same way, Dehadi samsakti mato na muktihi. The one who is attached to this body as I, there is no question of that person experiencing liberation or freedom. Muktasya dehadi abhimatya abhavaha. But for the one who has realized the truth, there is no question of that thought coming that that person is this body, because they've completely dissolved in that truth. It is like the as long as that one bag of salt, rock salt, is staying separately on the boat, the the bag of rock salt is there. But when that fisherman dumps that bag, he removes the bag and he drops all the salt, there is no question of that salt experiencing the ocean because it has become one with the ocean. In the same way, the mumukshu is that one who is a bag of salt, and the mumukshu is the one who is absorbed in the self called the ocean, and he has become one with the ocean and has got liberated. So there is no question of him experiencing that condition where he was in that bag, like he was in this body. There is no condition, there is no question of that. But for the person who is living in the body as the body, there is no question of experiencing that state of liberation or oneness, because he has identified himself thoroughly as I am this body. We will look into verses 339 to 348 tomorrow. The secret for spiritual growth, something that we really need to know because we always want to progress on this path. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Om Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasorma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya, Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. हर नमः पार्वती पतये. हर हर महादेवा. हरि ओम.